Hello, BookTube. Well, I'm continuing another installment of this very frustrating library tour of my little book room, which I originally intended to be a visual inventory of the state and arrangement of the little book room in early 2025, mid 2025. And for the dozen of you who have emailed me genuinely asking why I am frustrated, the reason is what I just said. The reason is the easily understandable English words of what I just said. We have discovered a couple of times in the course of this library tour that this is not a visual record of the state and arrangement of the little room, because it's changing as I go, which makes this kind of futile. But it's a little salt in the wound of futility to have people asking, well, I don't know why this is bothering you so much. That's why. The reason I said is why it's bothering me. But we're going to continue. You seem to like me just throwing random books at you. I could certainly do that until the cows come home. So we'll just continue to see these. Plus, I called it a little psychotic break, and one of you said that an easy weensy psychotic break now and again is is good for you. So the first things we have are these gems. These are classics, canonical classics, but finally the way they should be. This is a guinea pig Pride and Prejudice, and that's all that it is just guinea pigs doing Pride and Prejudice. We have a guinea pig Pride and Prejudice, a guinea pig Romeo and Juliet. What light through yonder window breaks? Could it be my own turds? And a guinea pig Night Before Christmas. There's a guinea pig Scrooge with a guinea pig bag of money, which I presume is again filled with the aforementioned my own turds. Then we have mass market paperbacks of Bruce Catton. These are these old white spine mass market paperbacks are the way that so many people were introduced to this author. They really missed the hardcovers, and these paperbacks came out during the boom of the paperback revolution, so to speak. So there were a lot of people who saw these that didn't see anything else and were introduced to this great author. These are big, fat Civil War volumes, but Bruce Catton is a great author. If you start reading them, you will keep reading them. I don't know if he's in print anymore, except in the Library of America, but in the mid-20th century, they built him right. Historians knew they had to entertain. Most of them did. So you get people like Henry Steele Collinger or Samuel Eliot Morison or Bruce Catton. You get people who wrote really good. It's a shame to me. It really is, because these old dusty Bruce Catton hardcovers show up at library sales and yard sales. They'll show up all summer at library sales and yard sales. And it bothers me just the same as it does with all those other great historians, that people will pass them over. It's just it's a big, dusty old history book that my grandfather had, and it's a shame. There's actual lightning in those pages. Then we have a paperback. This is the Modern Library of Rudyard Kipling's Kim. I think I found this at an aforementioned library sale. We have Al Silverman's book, The Book of the Month, which is about, here's the original board, it's about the Book of the Month Club, back when that was a real deal. The Book of the Month Club still goes on, but once upon a time it wielded enormous amounts of power in the publishing world, and had all sorts of genuine book people behind it. Sometimes when I look at it now, I think that it has an algorithm behind it, that it has an AI behind it. Okay, we have, this is an advanced copy of The City and the City by China Mieville. This is, well, I guess you have to call it science fiction, but it's like nothing. It's incredible, just incredible. It's about two cities that live in the same space, but they aren't separated by a weird temporal barrier or a quantum fluctuation field or anything like that. They're separated by edict. They're separated by a culturally ingrained act of communal will. So that if you are near the border of that other city, well, it's the other side of the street, but you don't see it. You can't see it. You can't see anything that happens there. You certainly can't walk over there. Instead, there are actual entry points from one city to the other. that you have to travel to when you could walk across the street to the other city. But nope, that is forbidden. Instead, you have to go to the entry point, use a visa, go to that other city, and then come back. And the book is wonderful. Miegel has thought this out like crazy, and it centers around rather predictable crime. Something that when you read the book and sit back from it, you think, well, surely something like this would have happened before now. Maybe it did and was just hushed up. But where a crime is committed in one city and the body is dumped in another, not through an entry point, what do? You have to observe the forms. But I loved it. It's hard to explain, but it is fantastic, just fantastic. We have a Life Nature Library book. This is Early Man. I had this whole series once upon a time that looked like this. I have almost none of them anymore. I think I have this and the one on the universe, and then there's one on ships in the sea. And this book, even if you've never heard of this came out long before a lot of you were born, but even if you've never heard of this book, if you watch religious apologist channels or channels on YouTube debunking religious apologism, you will have seen something in this book that debuted here. And that is this. This thing debuted in this book. I'm sure that image is familiar to you. It was commissioned for this book. This march of the species of hominids all the way to present Homo sapiens. That has lots and lots of problems and has been fodder both for religious apologists and for their enemies ever since it came out in this volume. The volume has lots and lots of fun stuff in it. It's got a lot more commissioned artwork than just that. There's another famous painting in here. Look at that. Look at that. There's Kilimanjaro in the background with a foreground full of animals that don't exist anymore, and plenty that do. But there's a picture in here, I wonder if I can find it easily, of two groups of early hominids confronting each other. I wonder if that'll be easy to find. And it's an artist's recreation. It's artistic. There's a bit of artistic license in it, but you have to think that something like this actually happened in Oldavia Gorge. You have to think that it did. Where a group of much more what we would call modern humans is facing a group of what those religious apologists would call ape men. They aren't. They are early hominids, and the overlap was for millions of years in some cases. So you have to figure scenes like that happen. It's a neat book to go back to. It's not, of course, you wouldn't want to use it as a reference work, but okay. Then we have Mark Gerard. This is his Life in the English Country House, an oversized thing on a subject that is a pet subject for me. I love English country houses. I love the whole idea of them, and this really digs deep into what they were. Not just what they, it is what they were. You get floor plans and extensive photos and whatnot. But it's also a study of the function that they served in society. The functions that they served in society. It's really the final word on analyzing the phenomenon of the English country house, which is largely over in the way that it was, where it was this weird intersection of wealth and politics and social power. Okay, then we have an anthology. This is a cavalcade of Collier's. Collier's was once a big, very important magazine back before the internet, largely before radio, certainly before television, where these were cultural disseminators, Collier's and McClure's and whatnot. They were big. They're all forgotten now, but they have vast catalogs, just vast back catalogs. No idea what's happened to all of those. This is a big, oversized anthology, but you could make 10 of these without running out of interesting material. The Colliers ran fiction, poetry, nonfiction, journalistic profiles. Okay, well, this next one's the same thing. This is a treasury of the Saturday Evening Post, which was the same thing. Once upon a time had an absolutely gigantic circulation. If you were a writer, your career was significantly made if you placed a piece at the Post. And same thing with a politician. If you got a favorable profile, everyone would read it. Everyone read Collier's. Everyone read McClure's. Everyone read Saturday Evening Post. Of course, Saturday Evening Post, right today, is probably most famous because it was the home for Norman Rockwell's iconic covers. Quite a few of them are featured in this book, but this also has lots and lots of reprinted prose from the Post. That's great. I love anthologies anyway. They're a big part of this room. All right, okay. Well, next we have Prince Valiant. These are old, sort of text quasi-adaptations of some Prince Valiant storylines. Prince Valiant, for once upon a time, was a very popular newspaper comic strip. Newspaper comics are almost entirely gone too. Well, this is a trip down memory lane, isn't it? Once upon a time, the comics were in every newspaper, local or national, and there were some strips that were far more popular than others. And Prince Valiant was one of the most popular ones. And he starts off as a lad at the court of King Arthur. And I found 3 of these things. This is Prince Valiant and the Golden Princess. Prince Valiant fights Attila the Hun, and Prince Valiant Perilous Voyage. And I know there were I'm thinking at least 10 more of these volumes. There are numbers on some of them. I have number 4, number 5. Prince Valiant fights against Attila the Hun is not numbered. But I think there's a whole shelf of these that is just lurking out there for me to find. I have a whole bunch of other Prince Valiant collections, but these are nice and handy. Okay. All right. We have Eugene Exman's book, The Brothers Harper. It's about the Harper brothers that started Harper Brothers, and then Harper and Row, and then Harper and Collins. And Harper is still an active name in the publishing industry in America. This is a story of them. It's a very good workmanlike story. It gives you all the behind-the-scenes wheeling and dealing about how they founded, how they got the word out about their books, the almost accidental creation of Harper's Magazine. I don't know what this is doing in here, though. I mean, it's a good book, but it's not. It doesn't really belong in this room. I'm going to put it back on the shelf because I'm going to give this room a thorough overhaul. Probably the next time David Murphy visits us. I should have done that when he was here. But we'll just continue here. We have a hardcover of Windhaven by George R.R. Martin and Lisa Tuttle. I guess this is a book club edition, so it just has the artwork around the side. Is this? Well, it says Timescape Books. But I would think that it would be a book club edition because how many hardcovers did Timescape bring out? Well, anyway, this is a terrific science fiction novel. I have this hardcover and it's nice and durable for rereading, but I would love to find the Timescape mass market paperback of this, had the same cover. Artwork, only in a little window in the middle. I would love to find that. That's how I originally found this novel. A rare standalone science fiction novel in this room. That's odd. I have plenty of science fiction anthologies here. Right, we have a battered paperback. I guess every little book room, every study or den or whatever you want to call this space has battered little books like this. This is John Buxton's book, Sir Philip Sidney and the English Renaissance. Which is part biography and part literary study, part social study. Wonderfully, wonderfully commanding, and also, as I mentioned, mid-century, really, really readable. I love it. I'm not 100% sure what it's doing in here. I guess maybe just that I love it. Very good. Oh my. Here is the Seasons of the Salt Marsh. I am a huge fan of salt marshes that dot the eastern seacoast. I have been to quite a few of them, tromping around them, canoeing in them. There you go, that's a salt marsh in winter. When the aforementioned David Murphy was visiting here a couple of weeks ago, on our drives out to find used books that neither one of us needs, we passed a few salt marshes, and I was very tempted. This is just a study of them, and I have a few studies of them. They're fun to read about, since I doubt, well, not in doubt, I'm sure I will never canoe on a salt marsh again. Then we have Peter Matthiessen. This is his great novel, Far Tortuga. One of the great novels of the 20th century, certainly the latter half of the 20th century. Difficult novel, an odd novel, very much so, formalistically speaking. The type of thing where when you encounter it, I have had people over the decades read this at my recommendation, and they end up loving it if they stick with it. But their number one reaction is, well, you don't like this kind of thing. You don't like this kind of playing around with form and narrative. So why would you like this book? And I've had to tell them what I've had to say on this channel many times, which is it's all about execution. I'm not doctrinaire. Otherwise, I would miss out on a lot of fun. I don't want to miss out on any reading fun. We have a biography, John Gardner's Life of Chaucer. Much abused in the critical press by my critical brethren, but a wonderful book. Absolutely wonderful. Chaucer has had more academically responsible biographies, but he's never had a more beautiful one. And then we have an anthology. This is Great Detectives. Nice big anthology of detective fiction. And another one as well. This is another anthology. This is Ellery Queen Best of Suspense. Mystery, thrillers, suspense. Here you've got a gigantic roster of names of people who are in here. Names, some well-known, some not. But these anthologies, when I need just a quick change of pace, even when I need a change of pace from my change of pace, I come to these walls and pick an anthology and just say, all right, some of these anthologies I know backwards and forwards. The Oxford Book of English Verse, I know backwards and forwards. I can't pick anything there that will surprise me, but I will still enjoy picking something. But a lot of these other anthologies, I can pick something that I just didn't really note, that I don't really remember. What's this big thing? Oh, okay. This is Upton Sinclair's novel, Boston. A great big thing that he had hopes for. It did not take off commercially, but it's, I think, really, really good. I don't know if that's just that it's home territory for me, but I think it's really effective. A really effective work from an author who's not very effective, which is an odd thing to say since one of his books was extremely effective. But I mean fictionally. I mean in terms of, a novel on the page. And then another anthology. This is compiled by Robert Silverberg and Martin Greenberg, and this is Worlds Imagined. So a science fiction anthology this time that has 14 short science fiction novels. Spoiler, it doesn't have any novels in it. You don't have a novel at 50 pages. But what have we got here? Wyman Gwynn, John Varley, Robert Heinlein, Theodore Sturgeon, Robert Silverberg put himself in here with Born with the Dead, Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, Samuel Delany, James Blish, A Case of Conscience, the whole Case of Conscience is in here. James Tiptree is in here, Houston, Houston, Do You Read? And On the Storm Planet by Cordwainer Smith, which is very odd. It's very odd even for Cordwainer Smith, who was a pretty odd author. And there you go. That is another shelf on this weird, utterly futile, doomed library tour. Okay. Okay. I will tidy things up here a bit, and I guess we'll just keep going. So I'll wrap this up, and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.